So thinking about a B2 level writer, what can a B2 level writer do? So we have a few, the overall skills that a B level writer 2 should do are be able to produce clear, detailed texts on a variety of subjects related to their field of interest, synthesizing and evaluating information and arguments from a number of sources. That's from the CEFR Companion, which is a great resource just to understand what your students should be doing at certain levels. And this is also geared toward younger writers as well. There's a supplement that's geared toward some younger writers in case you need that as well. And in terms of creative writing, giving clear, detailed descriptions of real or imaginary events or experiences. They can give clear and detailed descriptions on a variety of subjects of interest. Reports and essays, producing an essay or report which develops an argument systematically with appropriate details and significant points. Producing detailed descriptions of complex processes, evaluating different ideas or solutions to a problem, and developing an argument, giving reasons for or against a particular point of view, and describing advantages and disadvantages of a situation. So we will see that those are some of the skills that are very, very integral to the ECCE writing section.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some of the changes that we've made to ECCE writing? What is new? The City Times article is no more. So you'll notice that that is no longer a part of the writing section. And I'll explain these changes a little bit in more depth, but this is just to give you an overview of what's changed and what's the same. We also added an email genre, and the tasks that are given, the test takers are able to choose between 2 tasks in different topic areas. So we're giving a little bit more of a variety of the tasks. There have also been some minor changes to the formatting of the tasks as well. What is the same about the ECCE writing section? Test takers will still choose from one of the 2 tasks to write about. The 30-minute time limit stayed the same, so they will have the same amount of time. And our rating scale has had no changes. So the rating scale that you're familiar with, it should be just the same as it was before. And we'll go over that in more depth during the webinar when thinking about some of the sample responses. Okay, so let's take a look at the current version of the ECCE. So as we mentioned, the City Times newspaper article is no more. That's the article at the very beginning. So you will not be seeing that in the revised section. The 2 tasks are in the same topic area. So we have this prompt that's talking about passengers on a bus talking on their cell phones. And the letter and the essay task are both regarding that same topic, the cell phones. The prompt frame is a bit of the same, but a little bit slightly different. You have a letter task and an essay task here. And so now we'll see the new prompts. So it's a little bit more streamlined here. You're not going to see the article at the beginning anymore, but we've kind of tried to condense and revise this information so that the test takers are getting the context that's necessary, but also structuring it in a little bit of a different way. You will see that the email task has been added. So we will still be seeing some letters, but the email task is a new addition to the revised ECCE. And also that the tasks represent 2 different topic areas. So we have, in this case, the email talking about planning an end of the year trip, and the essay talking about after school jobs for teenagers. So 2 very different topics, and the test takers can choose whichever one interests them more to write about. Okay, so as I mentioned before in the previous ECCE, the 2 genres that we have were the letter and the essay, and we've added the email genre to task 1 in addition to the letter writing genre, which we'll say there as well. So they could have an email or a letter to write for task 1. Task 2 will always be an essay. And why did we add the email genre? We wanted to add a little bit more of a modern version of this genre. So, you know, most of us are used to writing emails a little bit more than letters. However, the email genre you will notice it's still getting at the formal purpose for writing. So there's a formal scenario that the test taker will write about. They're writing to a position, somebody in a position of authority, just like they would be for the letter. And so that part has stayed the same. You won't see any emails to friends or to family members in the ECCE writing section because we want them to be encompassing that formal letter writing genre, but through the medium of an email. Okay, so let's take a look at the prompt. So here we have the email prompt. The local city council is planning to build a new park in your community. They want community members to suggest where the park should be built. Write an email to the city council to explain your opinion. Give reasons to support your ideas. Okay, and so if we go to the next slide, Fernando, you can see at the top that the topic is there. So this will give the test taker the framework for what they're going to be writing about. And then under the topic, we have 2 bullet points. The first one represents the genre, in this case, it's an email, and also the purpose for writing, to explain your opinion and give supporting reasons to support your ideas. And then the second bullet is the salutation. So that gives them the audience. In this case, it's city council members. So the test taker will always know who they're writing to when it comes to the email genre. Same elements. For the essay, you'll notice that it's changed a little bit as well. So the first part, we have a statement, and that represents the topic. Textbooks required for classes should be available to students for free through libraries or the internet. So that gives the test takers the topic for writing. And then write an essay on whether you agree or disagree with the statement above. Include specific reasons and details to support your opinion. So in this case, we're giving them the genre, which is the essay, as well as the purpose. You won't see the audience in the essay writing task because when writing an essay, we just consider that that is a general formal academic audience that they're writing to. It's not one specific person necessarily. So their register should reflect that formal academic genre. Okay, so those were some of the changes that we made. And now we're going to take a look at a few writing samples, just in terms of what these test takers have done in their responses and how they would be reflected in the rating of the scale. So I'll just go over briefly the rating scale. You might be familiar with it. It has not changed. We did not revise the ECCE rating scale at all. So we have 4 different areas on the scale: content and development, which represents length and development, relevance, supporting details, reliance on the prompt content. Then we have organization and connection of ideas. So that encompasses having a smooth flow of ideas, cohesion and coherence, connection of ideas across paragraphs, and the proper use of paragraphing conventions. And then we have linguistic range and control. So that represents vocabulary and grammar in terms of accuracy, the severity of the errors. And by that, we mean when we're reading a response, we might see some errors that test takers make. That's normal. But the severity of the errors represents whether or not we're able to still understand the message that's being communicated despite these errors. So the errors in some cases might be distracting. They might be pervasive, but in some cases they do cause confusion in the reader when trying to interpret the content that the writer is trying to convey. The use of prompt-specific vocabulary. So are they using vocabulary that's suited toward the prompt? And repetition of vocabulary. And finally, communicative effect is the last criteria. So is the test taker addressing the prompt? Are they establishing context in their writing? Are they fulfilling the requirements for that genre? And are they using the appropriate register for who they're writing to? So let's take a look at the first prompt, the essay prompt that we're going to look at a sample from. Teenagers should be required to have an after-school job to get real working experience before they graduate. Write an essay on whether you agree or disagree with the statement above. Include specific reasons and details to support your opinion.